Hello and welcome to Asia Gaming Brief's face-to-face series. In today's session, I'm going to be talking with Danny Tu, who's the General Manager of Cherry Interactive. We're going to do a bit of a roundup over the developments over the last year in Asia's online gaming industry, from PIGOs in the Philippines through to new concerns in Dubai over China's political presence. Okay, thanks for joining us, Danny, today. It's great to see you again. How's the situation with PIGOs? Sorry, has there been any progress there?
PIGO is a very interesting topic as of now, because I would say maybe an hour ago I was just meddling with the PIGO apps, and apparently I'm able to get into the website via a VPN. So my question here is, how effective is the rules and regulation of PIGO? Because apparently PIGO supposed to be inviting only the VIPs, but me being me, I'm not a VIP. See, I've been getting a lot of invitation maybe on a weekly basis to join their PIGO program, and this is something which is very interesting, and it worries me a little bit because it looks like the KYC or the regulation might have some loopholes which people can abuse. So I'm a bit worried.
Let's move on to another country, Malaysia. Again, last time we spoke, there were a lot of considerations as to whether or not they could host at least online gambling companies leaving the Philippines. What came of that? Is there any update there?
Actually, the what do you call that, the euphoria has actually died down a little bit in Malaysia, but there are still what do you call it, operators who are operating out of Malaysia on a very what do you call that, secretive scale. So what they do is that they have to ride on the right horse, because right now in Malaysia politically it's very unstable. Okay, recently the chief of police just retired, and then a new guy came up. So all the whole activities have to hit a reset button. Put it this way, they have to hit a reset button and start to do things a little bit differently. But I will say that the raiding is still very real. Those who are not riding on the right horse, they are still being raided. They are still being caught by the authorities. But those who are on the right side of the or those who are riding on the right horse, they are actually pretty safe. So the activities is still very strong, and the government actually is aware of the losses that they encountered by not regulating it.
So really, there's not much chance of regulation moving forward until you've got a strong and very stable government who could push that through, even against the religious
yes. Actually, I was having quite an interesting talk with one of the ex-ministers. Okay, I wouldn't say any name again, but one of the ex-ministers. He was propagating. He wanted to regulate this online gaming. He is very much for online gaming because he realized the magnitude of the tax that he could get for the country. But the thing is that he hits a lot of roadblock. He says that the authorities or the ministers are aware of such a proposition, but it will take a time, and it can be a very long time. So at this very moment, what they can do is that there are a lot of companies that come in under the brand of it's an IT company, or it's an artificial intelligence company, it's a blockchain company, it's a fintech company. So a lot of them actually come under this banner.
And obviously another country where there was a lot of activity in the online gaming sphere has had another major political development, which has not helped matters, Myanmar, of course. Is there anything going on there now? Or?
Myanmar is another very interesting country. If you look at Myanmar since the coup that happened on the 1st of February, the Myanmar chart has devaluated by easily about 14%. And then the amount of cash that is in circulation is very limited. From my last conversation with one of my friends in Myanmar, basically you can only withdraw maybe 2 million kyat maximum per week per person from your bank account. 2 million kyat is maybe about $1,200 around that per week. That is the max you can withdraw. So having said that, it's going to be a problem. Why I say that? Because how are you going to pay your staff? Because there's a really limited amount of money in circulation. And like it or not, Myanmar is still a very cash-based society. So they need lots and lots of cash to operate. So having said that, the border casinos by China border as well as the Thailand border, they are flourishing to a certain extent because they are using the neighboring countries' currency. If Thailand is Thai baht and China is Chinese yuan to actually pay the staff. So there are activities happening because Myanmar, like it or not, is a very, very interesting country.
Are there any bright spots out there at the moment in terms of?
I dare not say that there's any bright spot. The bright spot that I thought of was in Dubai, but I think obviously I was a little bit wrong because from the recent intelligence that I've gathered, it seems that China is actually warming up to UAE, and then Dubai being one of the key hotspot for especially for the Chinese operators. They are actually on the edge of the seat. Some of them, for safety reason, they have stopped their operation and they have closed down their operations totally. And some of them are actually very, very, very careful in operating out of Dubai because actually, if you look at the political map, again, UAE is actually an ally of the US. But now China is in the picture, and then I don't know. I think it's going to be complicated. And then China being China, they actually have a lot of this blockchain mining center in China, and they are cracking really, really hard on these centers. And why I'm saying this is a problem, because a lot of the transaction or the remittance or the payment gateway that is happening right now from this iGaming industry actually comes from this blockchain technology. And then if the blockchain technology is being disrupted, obviously I think the whole operation is going to be disrupted. So that is why I was like, it's a very interesting situation that we are in at this moment in time.
Right. I'm going to come onto that in a minute, but just one follow-up question on Dubai. My understanding, I believe that a lot of the operators that were there, the Chinese operators, were actually targeting the Indian market. Does China still care? If they're not targeting mainland Chinese, they still care about them operating just because of the very fact they're Chinese?
Yes, they care. They actually want to show to the world that they are in control of the situation. Actually, if you ask me whether China is here to annihilate or actually to wipe out cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or whatever, no. What they want to do is that they want a bit more control over this whole piece of business, you see. So they want to have more control, and then they do not want their citizens to remain anonymous. So they wanted their citizen to be obedient to the government. So they do care. But I think, Sharon, you make a very good point here. Actually, you're right. A lot of the Chinese operators have shifted their focus and focus more on India and South Asia, which is India and Southeast Asia as well. But the thing is that the Chinese operators, from my understanding, they are not doing that well in countries like Southeast Asia or even India, because obviously the patterns or the behavior of the players in these countries are different from China, and the preference of the products of the players in China and places like India and Southeast Asia is obviously different.
Right. Yeah, we haven't discussed Cambodia. Are they still busy there? And last I heard that the live dealer was still going quite strong.
Yeah. Interestingly, they are still very much alive, very, very, very alive, very active, and then they are still actively recruiting. It's so interesting that I think two of my contacts in Cambodia contacted me just a couple of hours ago as well, before the PIGO guy contacted me. They were telling me, say, Danny, do you have any supply of workers from Malaysia to work in the casinos or the online gaming industry in Cambodia? I was like, yeah, I have, but the problem is this, I can't fly. I say, the guy cannot fly. I say, we have no clearance to fly, but I say, yeah, there are talents available. But the thing is that, but this question itself tells me that, hey, they are actively recruiting. That means that there's a flurry of activities there. And occasionally, when I log into these gaming websites and I look at the studios, and by looking at the background and the dealers, I know that this studio is streamed out of Cambodia. So it's still active, and then I will say it's flourishing.
It is. It's sort of a bit mind-boggling, the politics of all of these things, of how they really have been allowed to keep going after the government was so fast to capitulate to China and say, no, we're shutting down. But less than a year later, here they all are up and running again.
Yeah, I will say that, yes, some of them shut down, but some of them actually never even shut down, because I think the laws are open for interpretation. They were saying that as long as you are housed under a legitimate land-based casino, basically you're safe. So there's a lot of conspiracy theory behind it. Some of them saying that this is just a training room when they stream the results out of the studio, the training room, or they are saying that this streaming activities are only for customers that is housed within that block of building, which is, to me, I don't think it's true. But again, who am I to disagree?
Lovely. Well, thanks again, Danny. Really nice to talk to you. And
same here.
Hopefully we'll catch up again one day soon.
Yep, face to face, hopefully.
Nice. I've been talking with Danny Tu, who is the General Manager of Cherry Interactive. Please join us every Friday for our interviews with thought leaders in Asia's gaming industry.